let's talk about some little tricks that have seriously leveled up my acrylic portraits. I don't have all the answers, but these are things that have made a huge difference in my work. So if you struggle with portraits or just want to make your process easier, grab a snack, hang out, and let's get into it. Okay, first things first, I never start a painting all stiff and worried about perfection. Not even close. I start loose with a big brush in hand, just throwing some paint down. It's kind of my way of like shaking off that first paint stroke anxiety. I don't know if you guys feel that, but I used to hesitate so much at the beginning of a painting, like I was trying to mentally get it perfect before even putting down a single mark. But one day I was like, what if I didn't overthink this? And I just grabbed the biggest brush I had and just went for it. And now it's my ritual. I use the first layer to just move, get paint on the canvas, and tell my brain, we're in this now, and there's no turning back. And it works. If you ever find yourself hesitating, try this. Don't even worry about details, just start with big, loose strokes to block in shapes. It's like tricking your brain into relaxing. Now let's talk about references, because listen, you can never, in my opinion, have too many. I used to think I only needed one picture of my subject and I'd just figure out the rest, but you know, not really. The problem with relying on just one reference is that photos can lie. Shadows get distorted, colors can shift, and tiny details get lost. So now I always pull everything. Zoomed out shots, close-ups, grid overlays, even different lighting conditions. Just having different angles and perspectives has really helped me piece together the full picture instead of guessing. And one time I remember painting a portrait and something just felt off to me and I couldn't figure out what it was until I pulled up a close-up of my subject and realized that I had completely made up the nose, and I could have swore I knew what a nose looked like, but I guess I didn't because that was not correct. So ever since then, I don't trust my brain, I trust my references. Unless I'm trying to figure out a cool stylized way of doing something, I go to my references to put the full picture together. Speaking of references, at this point, I like to have one right next to my painting, preferably the same size, and here is the trick. I cut out parts of my reference depending on what part I'm painting at that time. I tape it directly next to it on my canvas or my easel, and I know that sounds a little extra, but it works. I used to get so frustrated because I freehand all my paintings, and things would always be off, and that's a natural thing to happen because your brain, it thinks it sees something or what should be there that's not actually there. So having a reference at the same exact size is a complete game changer for me, and it makes it so much easier to spot adjustments and fix them before they throw off the whole painting. Anytime I'm working on a certain part of the painting, I cut that out and work on it next to my reference. Technology is your bestie. Once I've got my references, I bring in my secret weapon, technology. I use Procreate, but you can use any app, I think, that lets you layer images on top of each other. But what I do is I stack my painting on top of my reference and toggle it back and forth between the layers. And let me tell you, be prepared. It is a humbling experience to see all of the mistakes and misalignments between your painting and your reference. But it helps so much when I overlay it on top of my reference and I can see that the eyes are a little too far apart, the jawline is a little off, or the proportions just aren't hitting the way that I want them to hit. I can change it early. The goal is to change things early before it gets too complex, or you have to start over, because I do that all the time and it freaking sucks. So it's like having an art coach that tells you what's wrong instead of sitting there squinting and trying to figure it out for 30 minutes, wondering why it looks so weird. I just layer it on top, take a picture of my painting, layer it, and see where I need to adjust and go from there. Don't be afraid to get up close and personal. Sometimes I'm so close to my canvas, I feel like I'm about to merge with it. And then other times I have to step all the way back and like look at it like I'm solving a true crime or something. But both are important. When I'm refining details, I grab my smallest liner brush and I get real precise for my eyelashes and highlights and subtle shadows. But then I force myself to step back because up close, things can look perfect. But from a distance, it could be a whole different story. Sometimes I could be so proud of the details of my eyes and like the reflections and stuff, and then I step back and the entire face is tilted and you can't even see any of the reflections that I did, so I have to redo it. So now I just make it kind of a part of my routine to constantly switch between up close detail work and stepping back to check the big picture, because you want to make sure that people that come up close can see the details and people from afar can see the details. So make sure that you're stepping back and getting close to your work. For some bonus tips, I am of the camp that it's not what you use but how you use it. And you can invest in state-of-the-art supplies and canvases and whatnot, but I feel like a well-rounded artist should use those things as a tool and not a crutch. Like, they should be aiding your art and not, carrying your art, I guess. And I'm not an art snob, so don't come for me in the comments. And a bitch is poor, okay? I'm gonna just say it. I don't have a whole bunch of money. I'm an artist, It's good days, it's bad days, it's life. And I know how important it can be to be frugal about your supplies. So I wanted to share with you guys my ride or die items that I use for almost every painting I do. And if you have been here for a while, I'm sure you guys have heard me talk about a lot of them, but I just wanted to kind of have them in one place and have a list of all my favorite art supplies. So definitely give this video a like and comment if you guys want me to go more in depth about them, but I just wanted to go ahead and start that list. Okay, so let's talk about art supplies and mediums, aka my golden girls. So I've said this a bunch of times and I'll say it again, but my favorite paint is golden acrylics, and I like their open line. Their open acrylics are my absolute favorite. I don't really like to paint with any other acrylics besides those. They just work for me and I just love their consistency. My favorite medium is their golden retarder, which is slow drying. It's a slow drying medium, which helps work a little bit longer. Open acrylics already have retarder in it. That's why they're open, because they're already slow drying, but sometimes I need it to dry even slower. So I will put just a dab of a little bit more retarder in there and it will just slow down the process of it, and it helps me paint just a little bit longer. Next is I love to use a big huge brush, like you guys know, like I said, and then the texture of the brushes. So I like a big soft brush and a big hard brush. I like to go back and forth between the two. Some is really good for putting paint on the canvas, and then a really hard, like I forgot the name of it. I'll have to look it up before this goes up and I'll put it on the screen. But I love these brushes. They are my favorite to blend and make everything look so seamless. And last but not least is my glass palette. I love a glass palette. And I use a metal palette knife. That combo, I feel like everyone should have in their toolbox, because it really helps blending every color, having it organized and ready to paint, and also clean up. It makes it so much better and easier, because I'm a lazy painter, I'm not gonna lie. So sometimes I don't clean my palettes as fast or as often as I should, and so this just saves me so much headache and time. I can just use a razor blade and just scrape it off and then start painting. So I would definitely recommend that for future art projects you have. But those are my main extra little snippets of information. Like I said, if you guys want to talk more in depth of all of my favorite things, then just let me know, and I got you, because I have a long list of stuff that really helped me, and I would love to share that knowledge if you guys are into it. But at the end of the day, these are just things that have worked for me. But I can say with confidence, my portraits have gotten so much better by doing this. Likeness used to be my biggest struggle, and while I'm still learning, these little tricks have really helped me move on to the next level and progress in my portraiture. So if you try any of these, please let me know. Or if you have your own portrait hacks, drop them down in the comments, because I also would love to hear of them, because I love learning new stuff. And if I can learn from you guys, then that's amazing. I also wanted to take this opportunity to let you guys know that my website is officially live. You can find originals on there, and my new product that I launched, it's my Feelings Pharmacy. It's many messages in a jar. My artistic mission has always been to uplift and make sure that people feel seen. And so since I got diagnosed with ADHD, I take meds. And so I wanted to do that, but instead of for the body, I wanted to do it for the soul. So definitely go check out the different bottles. They're all available right now. I also have a blog on there, so I will put the notes for my YouTube videos on there if you want like a written down version. And yeah, I guess I will see you guys over there, because there's so much stuff to check out. If you have any questions or you want to have a commission, then all my contact information is on there as well. Let's build something creative together. So I'm gonna go ahead and get back to painting, and you guys definitely do the same. And until next time, bye beautiful beings.